Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Marvel Legends figure Moon Knight, who is part of the Strange Tales collection by Hasbro. Now, I always like Moon Knight. He's always been one of my top favorite Marvel characters. I was into him back when nobody really knew who he was, when they had the original Mark Spector Moon Knight books. My original comic collection, I had them all, but things happen. Collections, get sold for reasons. So I have to rebuild this series again. But he is one of my top tier figures, so I was really excited to actually get a hold of him. So with that being said, first off, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. You're very much appreciated. And for anybody who watches this video and hasn't subscribed yet, can I please ask that you subscribe as well and check out my Marvel playlist. So without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here he is in packaging. So he has your standard Strange Tales packaging. So you got Marvel Legends up here, your choking hazards, Blackheart Build-A-Figure, Moon Knight, your age restriction, Strange Tales, and Hasbro. You got this open window here so you can see him, all his accessories, and what have you. Spin it around here. All right, you got Marvel Legends, Moon Knight, and some comic book art. All right, bring it around this way. You get a little bit about him. Some more comic book art. And as we all know, I love when they throw comic book art in with any kind of figure. You got the Build-A-Figure right there. Everybody that's part of this wave. And you have some legal underneath. Spin it around here. You get a better look at that comic book art, which is really cool. I do like that. Marvel Legends, his name. Spin it back around here. You got Strange Tales. And then underneath, you got some more legal and your SKU. So, with all that being said, let's open him up and see what he's about. So here he is out of packaging. The first thing we're going to do is look at his points of articulation. So the head does move. All right. Not a whole lot of movement in there, but there is there. You get a shoulder joint with a swivel. Get an elbow joint. And you do have a wrist joint. Get these arms up. You have a joint here underneath the ribs. And you also have one at the belt line. Okay, bring them this way. You do have a thigh joint with a swivel. All right. You have a knee joint. All right. Should have a swivel here, maybe. Yes, you have a swivel at the top of the boot. And then last but not least, you have an ankle joint. All right. Now getting him back onto the stand like he should be would be the biggest trick. There we go. All right. So now let's start getting into his finer details. So the head sculpt's pretty good. I do like the head sculpt. Let's lean him back a little bit so you can see in there a little bit more. All right. I like all the detail into the hood where you have all the creases and stuff in it. I like that. You do got the seam going right down the middle, which is pretty nice. All right. You have his, back straight here. You have his half moon crest here. That looks pretty good. I feel like the belt could have used a little bit more detail. Like maybe they could have gave it a wash to give it a little bit more of a metal look to it. Now his gauntlets here, you do have like this goldish copper here on the scarab. All right. So you could kind of see that. But it sort of blends in a little bit with the rest of the gauntlet. So it's a little bit harder to notice. Like let's take a look at it on this side. Move his hand a little bit. So I feel like they probably should have, maybe used a wash or something just to make the scarab pop a little bit more. But it don't look that bad. And you got the back of his cape. All right, not much going on back here. And you got the other side and background. Now, I do actually like the plastic cape with him. I think it works with this particular figure. You know, it balloons out just enough to give that inside detail, but not so much that it gets away from the character. So I like the overall look to the cape with him. I think that looks pretty cool as well. So now let's start getting into his accessories. So first off, he comes with a staff. All right. He comes with two closed fists. One. And two. All right. He comes with an unk. All right. And now he comes with his like moon boomerang thing, but he comes in three sizes. So you got the big size, and you got these real small ones. I don't know if it's going to be hard to see. See, you got one, and then two. Right. See how small those are? So the problem with those two smaller ones is they're more than likely going to get lost. You know, they're just so small that you probably, might not be able to keep them around. And then, of course, you have Blackheart's head that comes with him. All right. So now let's start getting into these accessories. So first off, we're going to start with the staff. All right. Let's see if I can get my fingers on this. All right. So that fits into this hand pretty well. Let's get the good old two-handed hold here. All right. There we go. So as you can see, the staff fits fine in his hands. No issues. All right. Next, we got the unk. All right. That fits well in his hand as well. No issues with that. Now for his moon boomerang things. All right, the big one fits fine in his, whoops, as he leans forward. All right. Position back a little bit better. All right, so what we're having an issue with him is his ankle joint's a little bit loose, so he wants to fall forward. But so now there's your boomerang there. We'll probably get the two smaller ones in there as well. All right. Nah, two smaller ones ain't going to go into his hands. They're just too small. They fall right through. All right. And then let's swap out one of these fists. All right, there's one. Actually, those swap out pretty easily. So let's swap this one out as well. All right. So as you can see, both fists swap out pretty well. No issues with that. All right, so let's get into my final thoughts with him. So first off, the joints work very well. I don't have any issue with any of his joints and what have you. His accessories and alternate hands do work well with him. The only thing I have an issue with is the smaller moon shaped pieces. I don't feel like they have really any use with this figure, to be honest with you. Like the larger one, you could fit in his hand at least. The two smaller ones, I don't know what they were really going for with those, but they're probably going to be something that's going to probably live in a box somewhere because, as far as I'm aware, they don't have really that much use to them. All right. And as for the detail to him, I think the detail is pretty nice on him. It's a little bit hit or miss. He does look cool, but I feel like his arm gauntlets could have been done a little bit better to make them pop a little bit more, especially the scarabs on them. You know, they kind of blend in. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail work into that. I do like how the cape is designed. I think that looks really cool. You know, for a vinyl cape, I think it actually does him justice. So, with that being said, would I recommend this figure? Yes, I would. I think he's a cool looking figure. Though he could use some more spoofing up in the detailed department, he's still good for what he is. And I would recommend him to go with the rest of your Marvel Legend figures. So, with that being said, I hope you guys did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my Marvel playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So, until the next one, late.